Thursday, May 2nd, 1968. A Special Forces operator in the midst of the Vietnam War self-initiates an impossible rescue mission to save his comrades who were pinned down and surrounded. With nothing but a knife, the solo operator entered the jungle, neutralizing the enemy and walking out alive with 37 bullet holes in his body. In 1952, 19-year-old Roy Benavidez enlists in the Army National Guard, having lost both his parents at a young age, followed by insistent bullying on his Hispanic and Yaqui Indian heritage. He was forced to drop out of school at the age of 15 to help support his family, and Benavidez manned up quicker than most. And after completing basic training, Benavidez was sent overseas to fight in the Korean War, an effort launched by then-President Dwight D. Eisenhower to repel the communist North Korean regime from overtaking South Korea, and Benavidez did just that. And after 3 years of bloodshed, leaving 40,000 Americans dead and another 100,000 wounded, Benavidez re-upped and went active duty as the Korean War came to an end. By 1959, he would attend and complete airborne school and be assigned to the 82nd Airborne Division at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. He wed and began planning out his life with his new bride, and it was a prosperous time in post-World War II America, following its economic expansion.
They're the new Ford Trucks 460.
But the world stage remained shaky.
Cuba became the focus of world attention. Here,
and between the chaos in Southeast Asia and the Cuban Missile Crisis, it became clear that war was soon to come. And by 1964, America entered the conflict in Southeast Asia, aka Vietnam. Benavidez made his first deployment to Vietnam in 1965 on a classified mission to embed himself as a local, while working as an advisor for the Army of the Republic Vietnam Infantry Regiment, with the goal of establishing intel on the North Vietnamese Army, otherwise known as the NVA. And while hiking through the dense jungle disguised as a guerrilla fighter, Benavidez stepped on a landmine. He came to at an Air Force Base hospital in the Philippines after a group of Marines discovered his body. He was then transferred stateside to Fort Sam Houston, where doctors broke the news that he would never walk again. And in an effort to stay in the Army and fight, Roy Benavidez, against medical guidance, snuck out of his bed each night and crawled on the floor wall to wall for several hours, completing several laps, slowly redeveloping the strength in his legs, often in tears from the pain. And 6 months later, with his wife by his side, Benavidez walked out of the hospital. He was initially assigned to light duty upon his return, but Benavidez's mindset became larger than life, and he wanted much more. He pushed his body to its mental and physical limits over a period of several months as he prepared for Special Forces selection. And after completing the grueling pipeline, Benavidez was assigned to 5th Group as an 18 Bravo, and was officially a Green Beret. He requested assignment to Detachment Bravo 56, under the control of the Military Assistance Command Vietnam Studies and Observation Group, returning to Vietnam in April of 1968. And upon arrival, only 3 years after his landmine incident, the North Vietnam Army took the fight directly to the Special Forces teams. And with violence at its peak, Benavidez narrowly escaped death after his close friend from selection, Sergeant First Class Leroy Wright, intervened, saving Benavidez's life. And by the following month, on May 2nd of 1968, Benavidez was attending church at the base when he overheard radio transmissions from Wright, who was out on a recon mission with a 12-man Special Forces team. The men were pinned down by more than 1,000 NVA soldiers and fighting for their lives. 3 helicopters returned from the extraction zone, riddled with bullets, unable to safely land and rescue the injured. One Huey crew member, 19-year-old door gunner Michael Craig from Los Angeles, was shot multiple times during the rescue operation and succumbed to his wounds in the arms of Benavidez. Furious, with no time to properly load out, Benavidez jumped on the last helicopter heading back to the extraction zone, armed with nothing but a knife and an IFAK. Pilot Larry McKibben bobbed and weaved his way through the extraction zone to evade enemy gunfire, but came to a conclusion that it'd be impossible to land Benavidez convinced McKibben to get him just above the tree line, at which point Benavidez jumped out of the chopper, breaking his fall through the trees before colliding with the jungle floor. And as he made his way towards his fallen comrades, he was shot in the leg and realized in that moment he was completely surrounded. During the chaos, he located Sergeant First Class Lloyd Musso, taking cover behind a tree, with obvious deformities and lacerations to and on his face. Benavidez provided morphine and dragged Musso into a better defensive position, pointing Musso's rifle in the direction of the enemy and ordering Musso to fire. Next, he located Specialist Brian O'Connor and made a run for him, taking another shot to the leg in the process, which only pissed him off, of which he described as going into autopilot, aka human instinct, carefully curated into our DNA by centuries of death and violence. And not every man's blood shares the same story in the barbaric chain of human evolution. Benavidez carried the blood of the Yaqui, and with a knife in hand, he cut down his enemy. He fought his way into the extraction zone and signaled in the rescue chopper. The walking wounded made it on board as Benavidez laid cover fire with a picked-up AK-47. He then located his close friend, Sergeant First Class Leroy Wright, who laid unresponsive beneath the tree line. Benavidez rushed right to the chopper, but in doing so, Benavidez was shot in the stomach and struck by shrapnel from a nearby grenade. When he came to, Benavidez realized Wright was killed by the blast of the grenade. The chopper extracting the wounded had crashed, and pilot McKibben was killed on impact, but the 5 other men on board survived. Benavidez quickly extracted the men from the helicopter, administered another round of morphine, and in a last-ditch effort, called in a danger close airstrike as F-100s thundered the floor with napalm. Another rescue helicopter arrived, and Benavidez carried the wounded on board, and as he made a run to retrieve O'Connor, an NVA soldier hit Benavidez over the head with his rifle and stabbed Benavidez with his bayonet. Benavidez shouted to O'Connor to shoot the man as the two went hand to hand, but O'Connor was too disoriented from the morphine to react. Benavidez removed his knife and stabbed the soldier, killing him. He then picked up O'Connor and ran to the chopper, while killing 3 more NVA soldiers with another picked-up AK. Once everyone was on board, Benavidez was the last to join, and to everyone's surprise, Benavidez also piled in 3 dead NVA soldiers, just in case they were carrying any useful information. As for Benavidez himself, the blood in his eyes dried his eyes shut. He couldn't speak due to a broken jaw, and his body was in hypovolemic shock. And by the time they returned to base, Benavidez was placed in a body bag. A friend and teammate approached and ID'd Benavidez as his close friend, Tango Mike, begging doctors to save him. But the doctors conferred and suggested there was nothing that could be done. Until Roy Benavidez summoned the strength to spit in the doctor's face.
Master Sergeant Roy P. Benavidez, United States Army retired, for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity in action at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty, and his refusal to be stopped despite numerous severe wounds saved the lives of at least 8 men. A nation grateful to you and to all your comrades living and dead awards you its highest symbol of gratitude. The Congressional Medal of Honor.
Hello, 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 Leo. Now I'm running out of so long. Hello, hello.
The Veterans Administration offers the addicted vet no rehabilitation or retraining. New York City treats 4,000 more with methadone, with 2,000 on waiting lists. But that leaves 35,000 addicted Vietnam veterans without without treatment.
What's that spell? What's that spell? What's that spell? What's that spell? What's that spell?
No wonder you got a pure heart.
Well, come on, all of you big strong men. Uncle Sam needs your help again.
That will always stay.
I have a number of friends who are not alive.
Don't ever let him bring you down.
I have a couple of people who've never returned from Vietnam in their heads. They're crazy, they can't be around other people. You see them drop down into a crouch and fire an imaginary machine gun.
The guy saves your life, and I wasn't able to save his. I feel good that I'm saying kind of a final goodbye to a friend.
All Americans can agree that Vietnam veterans deserve recognition and appreciation for their sacrifices, and that is why the Vietnam Veterans Memorial stands here today.
They were spit upon and called baby killers and just everything under the sun. They were treated very, very poorly.
You know, there's a saying among us veterans that it is those that have fought for it, that life has a special flavor that the protector will never know. You have never lived till your more time. And it is us veterans, especially the wounded, that pray for peace most of all, because we have to suffer the wounds of war.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. There's a lot more mini documentaries in the works, and you don't want to miss them. So make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.